Good morning, it's August the 15th, and I'm just making my rounds through some of my fig varieties. And, ooh, these are just so perfectly ripe. And I love when they shrivel up like that. Celeste is well noted to do this too. But there are other varieties. This is RDB, Ron de Bordeaux, as my friend used to say, which is correct. And Danny Yakir. But when they're like this, when they're well ripened, and when the weather is forgiving in this nasty climate of New Jersey, this is what you get. These are better than the most expensive candy in the world, I would presume. I can't say for sure because I've never purchased the most expensive candy in the world, but I can't conceive of anything more delicious. So, I've been around and about in picking different varieties, including some long yellow neck, as you can see, and just a whole bunch of different varieties. And I'm going to enjoy eating them soon. I might make a little jam. Here we have the beautiful splendor of Mavra Sika getting ripe. And I haven't picked any of these yet. They seem to be, for a Mount Etna type, just a little tiny bit later than the others. And they have this purplish color, like a, I don't know, like a violet color that the others seem to lack when they're ripe. But it's a great big variant that I enjoy. Here we have some Malta Black. Something's been pecking at that one. But they're something that I always look forward to with great relish and anticipation. Malta Black is a good Chicago Hardy type or Mount Etna type. I just noticed some large Mavra Sika that I thought I might record. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's a little dark under the canopy here. But that's that color I was referring to, if you can see it. Some really nice large ones. And they haven't fully swollen yet. I won't deny that I unashamedly devour probably more figs than I collect on a given day. Just superb. Now over to the Celeste tree. I've got a bunch of Lsu Tiger that need to be picked that are really ripe. You could view them on my previous video of a few days ago. This particular Celeste tree is quite large and full of fruit and full of ripe fruit. I've got to get a ladder out today and pick them all up. Maybe do a little A little bit of fig preserves, perhaps. I've got enough on the tree easily to do that, and if I don't, I'll have enough by tomorrow. They're getting ripe at such a fast pace that it won't take very long before I have plenty to make a few jars of preserves. Celeste preserves are my favorite. Of course, any really good ripe fig, if you have enough, will do for preserves, and certainly will serve you and be sure to please you as far as the results are concerned. I like fig jam, period. But I just have a bit of a preference for Celeste. And so I always preserve them whenever there's an abundance. Let's move on. Let me devour one or two of these more. Oh, wow. That one was really good. About as good as a fig could ever taste. So ripe and shriveled up and sweet, intense, and delicious. This is a hardy Chicago type, unknown. I don't know the precise so-called name of this Mount Etna type. That's an unusual looking thing, isn't it? And it's got quite a few ripe figs on it, and I've been picking them for a few days. And it's a mainstay. As I've said before, the Mount Etnas are such a reliable variety. There, I have a little bird picking at a very ripe fig there. Let's open this one up. Beautiful. This is a very tasty variety. I can keep it in my yard. It's in the ground fully, and I really depend on it and rely on it, and I'm very pleased with it every year. It's just reliable and dependable. Let me taste this. I mean, that is borderline exquisite, or maybe even over. That's good. That's really good, that one. Excellent. I better move along here now because I've got some more trees I've got to tend to, and I've got some Smith, and I noted that the first black Madeira is ripening, which I'm going to feature in a second. And I've already been eating some, a bit out of order, I might even say. Who can say with figs, really? But I've eaten some main crop Italian 258 and Genovese Nero. Very happy to report. And I've got a couple more ripening too right now. So I'm going to switch positions here and move over to them. Some very beautiful ripe Smith. I've been gobbling these down for quite some time. Smith is not a late fig. It's considered to be a mid-season fig, but they seem to get ripe very early for me. and just maybe, actually before the Mount Etna types, maybe 5 days a week, I start getting Smith. So it's certainly not a late fig. I'll put these down here. You could open up one if you like. Here we go. Smith. I can't tell if it's in focus. I try. I'm just using my phone. I don't have anything fancy. Everybody out there. But I'm having fun. Gosh, I don't know if I tell you, I've eaten so many figs today. I don't even know if I can. Well, let me. I'll try it. As I often say, it's a really tough job, and somebody's got to do it. So let me take a bite. Delicious. Excellent. Might as well just finish this one off, huh? That was a tough decision. A couple more over here on this tree. Got a bunch of these trees. I love Smith. I'll just pick them. They're certainly more than fully ripe. Nice. I got another big Smith tree over here. Then I unfortunately neglected to water enough. I've got so many things to take care of, and so I get behind. But I wanted to show you, let's see, hold on a second, let me go up on the ladder. I want to show you the Italian 258 or Genovese Nero that are getting ripe. I've eaten a few of these already, and they're a beautiful thing to behold. The leaves are falling off. They look like Breba, but they're not. The leaves have fallen off because I have, first of all, they're just growing in clumps. There's so many. It's quite amazing, isn't it? Look at that. They're just growing out of everywhere. But these will be ripe soon. And as I noted a little earlier, the Black Madeira are beginning to get ripe. You will remember that I did some air layering on the Black Madeira, and not a lot are getting ripe. That's the beginning. That means it's going to start happening, and that's certainly a delightful time that I look forward to nowadays. And here's one that it's not any good. I just throw that one away. It just didn't formulate properly. All right, so we've got this one. It's encouraging. It's telling me that the Black Madeira are beginning to get ripened. All right. I need to water all of these and give them a really healthy watering. And I will get around to it really quick. Here's Figo Preto. And this is a very nice tree that I've grown since it was just a cutting. And it's getting pretty large now, and it's full of fruit. And oh, look at that. Here we go. I didn't even notice this. These are Figo Pretos. These. Getting ripe. And this August the 15th. Again, I've lost some leaves up there. Some of it due to those darned bugs that I reported before, the spotted lanternfly bugs, and they, as I mentioned in a previous video, they suck out the bottom of the, they suck out the juices at the bottom of the leaves, and the leaves fall off. You can see where there were leaves right here, you can see them right there. These are not Briba, but I took care of them, and that's in another video as well. This is Figo Preto, so it's beginning to ripen simultaneously with the black Madeira, another air layer on the black Madeira, and here's that one. And everyone thinks, a lot of people think that they're the same, or they're just slight variants from one another. And regardless of which of those two options is true, they are so similar that it really doesn't matter, in my opinion, which one you have. So if you can get a good deal and pay a little less for Preto, Figo Preto, then do it. Okay, so let me pause this. Here, more long yellow neck are ripening. I've been eating these for about a week, 4 or 5 days anyway. Just a few. And I've got some more ripe ones I'll show you in a second, but they're ripening up, the yellow long neck. As I've stated before, I have a long history with yellow long neck. And the person who introduced this variety to the fig community was a friend of mine. We were, you might say, the very first email pen pals that I ever had, going back 20 years. And George Emmerich and I had the occasion of meeting, and I introduced Danny Yakir, and we used to exchange information back and forth. And George Emmerich, and I've told this story before, but he lived not far from UCD, Davis, University of California, Davis, and in California, and he saw this growing in one of the test sites, and they were hanging, they were big, they were yellow, they were inviting, and so he got a few cuttings, and the rest is fig history. I knew him at the time, and he sent me some cuttings, and I started growing it. Danny Yakir came from Israel 3 times, and he visited me. He took some cuttings of this variety too, and you can see the original cuttings that George Emmerich sent to me. You can see the results of that in Fig Varieties of the World, one of my videos that Danny Yakir sent me as a report afterwards. And you will see in there, he calls it the half-pound Briba. It didn't have a name at that time. And because it's a long story, but anyway, every once in a while it makes a Briba. And not too often. And they're pretty big. And so we just dubbed it the half-pound Briba. I was doing some light experiments over the winter at a time with that variety. And I was able to get it to produce 2 very huge Briba. And he was impressed with that. And so that's what we dubbed it, back long before it was dubbed yellow long neck. And now, of course, you'll see it in golden rainbow, and you'll see it in some other varieties. But it's all from the same source, and it's all, in my opinion, here's that caveat, for what it's worth, the same variety. But you can see it for yourself in that video. And it's a great video my friend Danny sent me. I think you would enjoy watching it sometime or some night when you have nothing else to do. Sit back and relax and watch that video. I'd appreciate if you did. Because in honor of my very good friend, Danny, I was very close to Danny, and he and his wife visited us, me and Debbie, several times, and he also visited us in Chincoteague, Virginia, and I have videos and things which I'm going to release in the future, which will be fun for you to look at. Okay, so this is yellow long neck. Let me move on to another. Let me move on to Ben's Golden Rainbow, or it was Golden Riverside, and now it's called Golden Rainbow. Hold on. Hi again. This is Ben's Golden. Well, it's not called Golden Rainbow now, but Golden Riverside is the name that Ben dubbed it. And to me, it's absolutely the same as yellow long neck, one I just talked to you about. And here, let's take this one. This one's nice and ripe. This one's overly ripe. But I've been eating these, and I have to say, I do have to say, and I will admit that last night I brought a couple in for my wife, Debbie, and I put them in the refrigerator, and my son was also present, and so I cut it up 4 ways. 2 for me and 1 for them. And not true. 1 for the little doggy. And it was good. It was superb. It was very good. Very, very tasty. When you can get it to ripen properly. A very tasty fig. As I said, it's a keeper if you like. In a container in 7A. And I wouldn't recommend it in the ground, even though you saw I have a very healthy one in the ground. For other reasons, which I'm not going to get into right now, it's not one that I would really recommend for the ground in 7A or even, well, maybe 7B. But I'd cut it off at 7B. I don't have time to go into any detail on that. But it's a good container fig to grow. This one here has some yellowing because my son, when I went away a couple weeks ago, he neglected to water this tree. And he had forgotten that it was here, or maybe didn't water it enough. But this is Ben's. It's getting too tight here. Ben's Golden Riverside, which is absolutely from him. He sent that as a personal gift to a personal friend of mine, and that personal friend of mine, a very reputable seller of figs, very reputable. He gifted me with this a few years ago. Let's taste this. That's good. It's a good yellow fig. That's a good honey fig. That one's good. I would not overall rate this fig tree higher than my Peter's honey, no way, because it's just Peter's honey is a workhorse. It's a utilitarian fig. It grows in the ground in 7A and B, and it produces far more fruit overall. Much more abundant producer. It has a lot of breba, and this has practically none, or seldom one. They have delicious. Peter's honey has delicious breba. They're fantastically delicious, and they're superb in every way. The breba are as good as the main crop, and that's a rarity in figs. Usually the breba, the first crop figs, don't have the quality, the taste, or the texture of main crop figs. But Peter's honey does, and it's cold hardy. I mean, there's a lot of things that, I would prefer, but don't get me wrong. If you guys out there have Golden Rainbow already, or if you have Ben's Golden Riverside or Yellow Long Neck, they're all the same to me, and they're all good, including Long Yellow, which is here. Long Yellow, which I've talked about. And we might as well, let me devour this. That's delicious. You can look at my other videos on that, Fig Feast and Beauty and the Beast, if you really want to see some other videos that really show golden Riverside and yellow long neck. I think you would enjoy those. There's some others, but you would enjoy the ones I just mentioned. Fig Feast and the video I made a little bit after that. Let's see, this one here. This is a ripe long yellow. I don't know that I should. It's not. It could go another half a day. So I plucked a few off here the other day and gobbled them down. But this is long yellow, and it's. I made a video on this too, comparing it to yellow long neck and to golden Riverside or golden rainbow, and my determination was that it was maybe a slight variant from them, a sport perhaps, but very close, very close. So I'm not completely finished making my evaluation, but I don't see anything that sets yellow long neck apart from long yellow that would make me want to prefer one or the other, or one over the other. Okay. This is the last variety that I'll profile today. And this is red Lebanese, which is also in the family of the, there are so many of them, the Mount Etna types, the hardy Chicago types. And as characteristic as of all Mount Etnas, it's very, very fruitful, very fruitful. And on this particular variety anyway, I will say, I mean, I could open this up. I don't know, I could let that hang for another day. This is red Lebanese, not Lebanese red. There's a difference. This is borderline. Let me take it. It's pretty ripe. Let me open this up for you. All right. Oh yeah, look at that. See, these are the little differences, that these little variations in the Mount Etna types that really, I mean, there's merit to the fact, or to the point, that they are different from one another, but it's not much. But that little bit of difference sometimes can make a lot of difference. Look how rich and red that is. Look at the color of that one. Now, as I've often said, you can just see how delicious this fig is. Look at it. It's a delicious fig. And I'll take a bite. Here we go. You know, I'll tell you, figs are an extraordinary hobby. Extraordinary. This one's really, what I want to use the word pasty or creamy. That's a better word. It's like really there's a creaminess to it. This red Lebanese. Let me bite the other side of it. It really resonates throughout your taste buds in a different kind of way. I wouldn't set it aside too many notches or set it higher too many notches, but it's a little different. Let me feel the leaf. Unusual too, just a little bit. But anyway, red Lebanese. I don't think you would be disappointed. Many people love it. I could tell it had a special creaminess to it. And with that, I think I'll just take a quick little walk around before I turn off this phone, my video. These are some Lsu Tiger Figs. And here's an interesting observation, because this one's not out in the full sun because of my rather large persimmons trees up there, okay? And loses a couple hours of sun a day, although it's very fruitful and successfully so. You can see that they're not ripe yet, as the ones I featured a day ago or two, which were very ripe. But they will be just a couple days behind, as they were last year, and they will be full of vigor, and they will be tasty and completely successful. But I'm not going to take down my persimmons tree to give this full sun, because I have 3 of these in the ground and 1 in another state, and I'm happy with the production of the other 2. I'm happy with the production of this one. It's a very, very, very productive fruit tree. I'm very happy with it. Just a couple other varieties I won't talk about. The video is getting much too long. This was given to me by an old Italian guy, and he didn't even know the name of it, but it came from Italy. It's another Mount Etna type, but it has a very unique type. If you really, know your figs, it's a little bit different, just a little. I like it, so I'm keeping it. And we'll just move on here. Thank you for visiting today. I certainly enjoy your visits. I enjoy sharing information with you. I'm having a good old time. This is the best time of the year, especially if you're a fig grower. And there's lots and lots and lots and lots of fruit at this time of the year. And we're having a good year. So with that, good day.